Hey guys, my name is Adam, and I have another Rome Total War multiplayer battle replay to show you. This is a Rome versus the Greek city-states matchup. I am playing as the Scipii Romans, as you can tell right here. My opponent, across the field, is Dershefista, I believe that's how you pronounce it. But he is playing as the Greek city-states, and he has formed a lovely new box. So this video is going to be all about teaching you how to counter this new box. It's actually pretty simple. It's a very common tactic that phalanx factions like to use, especially the Greek city-states, because they don't have very good cavalry. The best cav they can field is Greek cav, which is about the equivalent of Roman equites, the weakest cav that Rome actually has. So it's definitely not good to bring them. I really don't like them, but I also don't form new boxes because it's just kind of silly. It wastes a lot of time, and it's actually easy to counter. A lot of people don't really know how to counter it. They end up just charging right in. The most important thing, I guess, is bringing the proper build to deal with the possibility of a new box. So taking a look at my build, I brought a lot of archers. This is very necessary when you're going against a new box build. So I have 5 sets of Archer Auxilia with bronze upgrades, and I believe just bronze attack on a couple of them. Yeah, right here, bronze attack. Behind them, I have 5 sets of urban cohorts with gold upgrades. So this is definitely a powerful infantry line. Now, I will grant that I brought a lot more cavalry than I probably should have, but it ends up working out because I actually forced my opponent out of his new box. I think I should have brought like 1 less unit of cavalry and maybe spent that on another archer unit, maybe another infantry unit. I don't really know, but I think this is a bit too much cavalry. When you're going against a phalanx faction that doesn't have good cavalry, there's no need for 4 sets of Praetorian cavalry. This is really good cav, and really all I need to do is hammer and anvil with them, so I don't actually need to fight other cavalry. I could have brought equites for the exact same purpose. So this is a bit of a mistake on my part, but it's fine. It works out. Looking at my opponent's build, he of course brought Spartans because they are the best phalanx units that the Greeks have, and that's for various pretty obvious reasons. But he has, let's see, 6 sets of Spartan hoplites with no upgrades. Then he has 4 sets of armored hoplites with no upgrades. The upgrades that he does have went into his archers. Now I think this was a bit of a mistake. He spent way too much money on his archers. It's good to have a lot of archers. The numbers game definitely helps, but I think that all of these upgrades, I think this like silver bronze upgrades, that's a bit much. He should have just taken off these upgrades and thrown them in some of his frontline Spartans and maybe armored hoplites in the back. I don't really know what else he could spend the money on, but definitely upgrades on his infantry would have been a better choice. Anyway, he has, looks like 6 sets of regular archers, and that's not a bad idea. Then he has 2 sets, maybe 3. Yeah, 3 sets of, let me make sure here. Yeah, 3 sets of Cretan archers. Now, Cretan archers are much better than standard archers. They have better range, better accuracy, just all around better. Now, a huge mistake that my opponent made, you can probably tell right off the bat, his general unit is inside of a standard archer unit. I don't know what is the obsession with people doing this, but this happens a lot more than you might think. The Greeks and any phalanx faction, whenever somebody forms a new box, they love putting their general in an archer unit. I don't know if they feel it'll make him safer, or if they just accidentally do it, but it happens so often that I almost feel like it's on purpose. And this is probably the worst idea ever. You should never do this. This is a horrible plan. Because I can just have all my archers focus down his general unit, and he's done. If that general unit dies, he's in a lot of trouble. And although they're Spartans and their morale is ridiculous, it doesn't really matter when the general dies. There's going to be some morale shock there. Very important to remember that. Also, I mean, if he routs and he's in the middle of all of this formation, he's going to cause morale deficits to everybody. Yeah, definitely not a great idea. I mean, we don't just think about these Spartans either, because if his general dies, then it's very likely that all of these other archers will rout as well. So there's a lot of risk in putting your general with an archer unit. I don't think that makes him safe at all. In fact, I think it's quite the opposite. If he put him with a Spartan unit in the very front, it might have been very difficult for me to actually focus him down. But at this rate, nah, it's going to be easy to kill him. And I think that's a huge mistake. Alright, let's start the game. So, I put my general unit with a urban cohort, mainly because I knew he would bring a lot of archers. I knew he would bring phalanx to form his new box, because that's what Greeks always do. So I wanted my urban cohort unit to be very protected. And because my general is in this unit, I can put him in testudo. I can do a bunch of formations that will make him very hard to kill, which I think is very important when it comes to versing the Greeks. I can't have my general die, just like he can't have his general die. It's pretty much a standard rule. You never want your general to die. You never want him to rout. Otherwise, you're going to face a lot of morale shock, a lot of morale deficit. So it's not the best idea to let that happen. Alright, so my brilliant plan right off the bat is to charge my urban cohorts straight forward, and I'm going to get them in archer range, and I'm going to put them into testudo. Now this works actually really well. If your opponent's not smart and he keeps his archers on fire at will, this will actually waste a lot of their ammo, and I could use that a lot. If his archers have less ammo than they normally do, that'd be great. I'd really like that. Especially when I begin the archer fight and they have practically no ammo. I want that quite badly. So, here we are. I believe I'm about to get in bow range. I don't know if I am yet. His Cretans are definitely in range, but I don't know if these regular archers are. It does not look like it. So I'm going to move up a little bit more. And now his standard archers are ready to start the fight. So now I'm going to go into testudo. And we'll watch him. All testudo does is they get in a very tight formation, then they put their shields up on all different sides, except the back, of course. This is a very good anti-missile formation. So yeah, there's no way I'm going to die to this. I mean, come on. They can barely see my eyes, my head, anything like that. So it's impossible to really die to arrows at that point. Alright. My archer auxiliary have now moved up, and I'm going to start the archer fight. I am pretty much going to target down any of these archers that I can. I don't really have a preference right now. I know his general unit is here, but at this point I want to weaken down his whole archer force, and he does know that I am now targeting him with my archers, so he's going to move forward. The problem is, my archers are actually so far back, and they have such better range, that his regular archers actually need to run forward a lot here in order to do anything useful. And the problem with that is he's running really close to my urban cohorts. So I get the brilliant idea to charge one of my units. Probably shouldn't have been my general, but I felt risky. I'm going to charge forward. I'm going to chase them back. So this is stopping them from taking any shots at me, while at the same time, I'm about to get some kills because my general actually catches up with this one unit. And a lot of these archers are going to be cut down. There. Stabby, stabby. They're pretty much done. I'd imagine that my opponent is rapidly clicking, trying to get all his men out of there. Also, he has screwed up his square something fierce. I don't exactly know how he did this, but he managed to. I guess he clicked the wrong unit. I have to imagine that was what happened. Alright, so his archers are all in disarray. And this helps me a lot, because now I can just start focusing down his general, because his general is just in the mix with like 5 other sets. So even if I target his general, I'm likely to kill a lot of other units in the process. So I figure, yeah, why not? Yeah, let's just keep shooting the archers. Now, this Spartan Hoplite is turned around, and I could get some kills on them if I really wanted to, but I don't see the point at the end of the day. I don't really see the point in shooting at the Spartan Hoplite when his general is inside of here. His archer unit with the general is down to 53 men, which is quite low. I think at this point he's trying to fix his phalanx formation, or maybe he is... I guess he's trying to form a line now. So I've done so much damage to his archers that he decides that this square is not going to work. He may be going for like an aggressive square, maybe reform a little bit ahead, and that's what I was thinking at this point. I was wondering what he was doing, but I see that he's moving forward now, at least a little bit. He's moving forward in a column formation, which I never understood, but here he is. He's still shooting those fire arrows at my urban cohorts. He's really not getting any kills off that. As you can tell, I believe he actually got no kills, which is really funny. Yeah, I mean, here's the one urban cohort, the unfortunate bastard that died. Alright, so I run forward, and I'm going to toss my Pilla at these Spartans. Let's see how much damage we actually do. That looks quite painful. Now, keep in mind, Spartans are very, very resilient. They're not going to rout, they're not going to take too much damage, but it's important to weaken them down as much as possible. I mean, right there, I just killed like 6, which is definitely important. Now I have my cavalry going along the sides. He's given up on his noob box, but he's moving forward in columns, which I don't understand. But I have 2 sets of cavalry charging down these archers. I figured that was important. He's moving forward here. I have used all of my Pilla, so I'm using every little bit of equipment I have to weaken down his line. That's important. That's very important. Also, you need to make sure you're not on defensive. You want to completely surround them, and my opponent was very silly for charging in here with columns because it allows my urban cohorts to completely wrap around. You generally want to keep your Spartans and armored hoplites in a line formation. That way you can't be wrapped around by urban cohorts. But in this case, I am now surrounding him, and you don't want to get into hand-to-hand combat. That's a really bad idea. He's trying to use 3 sets of these hoplites in order to stop me from doing rear charges, but he left this little area open, so I'm taking full advantage of that. I'm going to crash into the Spartan side. I have routed the general and all the archers pretty much, but the fight is still going. Here on this side, I'm doing pretty much the same thing. His armored hoplites just can't stop me at this point because he doesn't have enough men to actually fully enclose. Meanwhile, I routed that unit of Spartans. I'm going to move on to the next, and I keep doing these rear charges with my cavalry. Let's see. I believe I still have 2 sets, or actually just 1 set chasing down the remainder of archers. I have my Praetorian cavalry finishing off the units that I don't really care about anymore. Alright, over here I'm going to get another rear charge. There we go. That's going to be it. My opponent admits defeat off of that. So that's one way you can beat a new box. It's very common online, so I wanted to show you exactly what you can do to counter it. It's an annoying tactic. It purely drags out the game. That's all it does to really attempt to succeed. If you are hasty and you don't really think things through, rather, you can really face routing issues. You're just not going to win if you really move into this quickly. What you want to do is harass down your opponent's infantry, kill off your opponent's archers. A lot of the game relies on your missile component. Not so much your cavalry component. Your cavalry component is pretty much going to be used to wrap up enemy units. For example, units that are routing and have run outside of the box, you want to use your cavalry to crush them. Or, I mean, if you kill the enemy general, then you can do these rear charges that will certainly cause a lot of damage. The standard new box player will not escape that formation. Like, they won't give up on their new box like my opponent here did. Instead, they will stay in that. If that happens, you want to use your archers to target the infantry with their backs turned. It's always a smart idea. And eventually he will have to break, though. Eventually he will have to break because you have plenty of ammo. And if he doesn't break, then he's really a fool because you're going to get a lot of kills with your archers. You're going to be able to run up with your Roman infantry and throw your pilla. And then, once all of that is said and done, then you can charge in. I also suggest targeting one flank in particular. For example, the front or even the back. You can run all the way to the back. Get your opponent guessing. Doesn't really matter, but heroic victory to me. I ended up getting 1,234 kills, and he ended up getting a pathetic 138 kills. Welcome to the new box. It doesn't work. Stop using it.